What's up, guys? Welcome back to HeavyTek, and if it's your first time stopping by at HeavyTek, thank you. We got something interesting today. It's not really going to be a review per se. I do have another cooler, and what I decided to do this test today was a viable solution. So to see if you could play some games, do your day-to-day tasks, do some light surfing on the web or light tasks with a passive cooler. Now I picked up this, which is a passive cooler from Alpine. It's called the Alpine 11. So today, like I said, it's not going to be a direct or review of the cooler itself, but that type of cooler, passive coolers. And if you don't know what a passive cooler is, it's a cooler without a fan. It's just a heatsink only, made out of whatever material it's made out of. Completely silent operation. It's a redundant system. It's foolproof. Like, the only way they don't work is when it gets heat soaked, when it can't dissipate enough of the heat that's being produced from the CPU. So we're gonna look into those types of things. Most air coolers, if you didn't know, if you remove the fan, they become passive heat sinks. Now, if you want to take your $30, $50, $80 cooler and you want to remove the fans and just make it a large passive heat sink, you can go ahead and do that. But this one that I got here on the test bench was only 12 bucks. So I spent $12 free shipping from Amazon, and I got this awesome cooler. Now, I didn't have high expectations for it at first. It did have some heft when I pulled it out of the box. Came with really simple hardware, 4 screws with retention springs, pre-applied thermal paste, and that's it. So putting it in was definitely real simple, easy. It's about as easy as you can get. Now, Arctic does make an AMD version of the cooler, and they also make some versions of the cooler that have like this black thermal coating on it. That one was out of stock. I prefer that one. I thought it looked really cool. But I went ahead and just got the aluminum one. Now, after I installed the cooler, did my regular boot up test. I don't know if you can see it behind me, but I'll go ahead and we'll show you guys a good picture of that. But I'm running cam in the background, and it's sitting at 32 degrees Celsius. Now, I know it's a little unfair that it's on an open air test bench that I have right here behind me, but testing purposes, this is what I have and this is what I'm using. To go ahead and add some consistency to it, I did plug in one 140 millimeter fan, and it's about 10-11 inches away from the heatsink itself. So its placement is like where it would be if it was the motherboard and cooler were actually in a case, and to see if light airflow affects it any, and right now it's doing a pretty good job. So if you don't have a whole lot of money, you want to save your pennies or cut corners wherever you can to possibly buy different components, or if you want like another fan, or you just want to need 10 extra bucks to get that graphics card, then using something like this is definitely awesome. It does its job very, very well. I ran Overwatch, and we're going to go ahead and do it again so you guys can see live what's actually going on, that it did really well playing some video games. Like, I knew passive heat sinks were a thing, but I didn't think they could perform this well. And it's fairly large too. It's about the size of a Carrick C7, maybe a little bit wider. I mean, it's probably a couple of millimeters away from the RAM slots, but this is also a Asus Maximus 9 Apex. So, some of those things are a little closer to the socket. Your mileage may vary on, whatever motherboard you're using. But if you have a case that has really good ventilation, and then you have really good airflow going into the case, something like this is definitely an option for you. Like, I'm talking about if you want to build like a $300 computer, getting something like this heatsink where you're just gonna do some light gaming and you're just doing day-to-day tasks, you don't want to make a lot of noise, you got a case, like I said, with decent airflow and decent air moving through the case, then I'd say use it. Like, I was really, really surprised that something like this will work. So, passive coolers are a thing. And, of course, on other components that are like that, there are NVMe SSDs that are using like aluminum heat sinks, that are present on your motherboard and other electrical components. So the theory is sound. And as far as I know, because there's a 7600K on here, it's stock clock, stock base and boost clock. So I went back into the BIOS and changed everything normal just to see how it would do with a stock processor. And like I said, as far as I know, core count doesn't directly relate to thermals. So don't quote me on that, I'm not sure. I do know, however, that voltage and clock speed are directly related to how much heat the CPU is boosting. You pump in more voltage, you're gonna get more heat. So I do not know the actual limitations of the cooler itself, and if you guys want to see what that is, if I get enough of you guys asking in the comments, I'll test it and see how much on a 7600K can you raise this before this thing starts thermal throttling or wants to shut off or kill itself. Who knows? But today I was just doing a simple test to see if passive cooling is a thing. And it is. I'm not telling you guys to go rush out one and replace your things, but if you needed something for a backup, or you have a really cheap build, especially for a backup, you guys got water cooling, you got a real expensive air cooler in there, maybe you're switching to a case where it can't, it won't fit in the new case due to clearance issues, or you're dealing with some other problems, this thing is not gonna have any clearance issues. And the cool thing about the cooler is you can orientate it because it's almost like a perfect square. So you can either have the channels going horizontal or vertical. So if you want air, going from left to right, blowing across the cage, you can line the fins horizontal, or you can rotate it and make them go vertical if you want to use your top fans on your case to extrude the heat off of the processor that way. So they give you a lot of options, as simple as the device may be, to do certain things like that. So if you guys liked the video today, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, hit that thumbs down. As always, hit that subscribe button, and we'll get back to you on the next one. Be awesome, be heavy.